Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be a story time. I know I talked about it in one of my vlogs while I was in Hawaii. We had decided to go paddleboarding and basically I almost died. I know I'm being a little dramatic when I say that, but if you want to hear the story of how I almost died in paradise, then go ahead and keep watching. So the story starts the day after my best friend's wedding, the one that we went to Maui for. The four of us had decided we were gonna go paddleboarding. So I'd never paddleboarded before, I'd never surfed before. I love the ocean, but I'm not very experienced in swimming in it. I'm from the Northwest and our beaches are ones you have to wear a hooded sweatshirt and bundle up even in August. So I'm not really used to actually swimming in the ocean, but I still wanted to paddleboard. I knew I wasn't going to get the surfing lessons that I'd wanted, but you know what? Now I'm thankful that I didn't. So we had found a place to rent the paddleboards, just got the basic little 2-minute long spiel from the guy that rented them to us because he wasn't an instructor, but he had to go over the basics with us on how to use it, you know, how to stand, how to hold the paddle. While we were out there was actually just a couple of locals who were actually paddleboard instructors, but they were like off duty. They were just out there hanging out at the beach. But they ended up, you know, just hanging out with us and giving us a little bit of, you know, free lessons. So we were out there and there's a little, I guess, method to doing it, you know, against the waves, and you know, there's a whole trick to it. If you hesitate for a second, then you'll have to just start all over as soon as there's a big break in the waves. So we started doing all of that, and Katrina didn't even get in very deep into the water when the waves caused her paddleboard to come flying back, and it actually hit her. I guess it hit her in the head, so she got off her paddleboard. And so I made it out past where the waves break with Russ and Steve, and we were out there. The boys were all standing just fine, you know, no issues. I knew I didn't want to stand up on the paddleboard, but just sitting on it and straddling it and paddling from there was fine. I was just kind of out there, you know, doing my thing. It was actually kind of relaxing at that point, but after a while I was like, okay, I want to get back onto shore. And I kept looking at the waves. I think we had drifted too far to a spot where the waves were pretty high, and so I was a little nervous about riding those waves back to the shore. Russ kind of helped me out a little bit. He was trying. You know, one thing I was told was as soon as you're ready to go, to just let go of the paddleboard in case that flies out from under you, it won't take you with it. So I did that, and then I still hesitated for a few more minutes. And then all of a sudden, one of the waves took the paddleboard. I still had the paddle in my hand and I didn't want to let go of it because I didn't want to lose it, because then we'd be out a lot of money for the rental. I get to a point like this where I panic a little bit. So anything that Russ was trying to do to help me, I was just kind of panicking and yelling back to him, and so I was just telling him basically to get the fuck away from me. I still have the paddleboard in my hand, and then I'm sitting there trying to swim back. I think he went back to the shore. He had made his way back to the shore to get my board because I didn't even see where it went at that point. I was trying to swim out and the waves kept breaking right over me. I was in the worst spot, and so I was being pulled back a little bit by the current and being just hit with the waves, you know, over and over. And I remember thinking clearly that I felt like I was going to die. This actually happened to my sister the last time we were in Hawaii when we lived there a long time ago. The same thing happened at a beach with her, and so that just popped in my head. And I remember she still to this day like feels like that she could have died that day. So that was the only thing I was thinking of, and I was panicking a little bit. And somehow I had eventually made my way out there. I had swallowed so much seawater. I probably had about 10 pounds worth of sand, all because I was wearing shorts. So every pocket filled up, every crevice, my entire bikini filled up with sand. So I finally made it out there. Didn't even realize, like, because I was probably screaming, and I probably looked like the biggest weenie on in the entire world. It was a pretty crowded beach that day too, so a lot of people saw. And then I immediately I walked over to where my board was, laid down on it. I did start crying a little bit just because it was pretty traumatic. It took me a few minutes to catch my breath. So at this point, I was like, no, I'm done. I'm done paddleboarding for the day. Let's just put him back in the storage. So Russ took both of our paddle boards. Katrina and Steve I think they had already put theirs back. I'm not sure exactly where they went at this point. So we were walking back over to where our hotel was, and Russ just had the 2 paddle boards, and so he just quickly went back to the storage area to put them away, and I lost him, and I didn't know where Katrina and Steve were. They weren't in their hotel room. I didn't have my phone with me because that was locked in Katrina and Steve's hotel room. I didn't have my key card for my room because that was also locked away with my phone that was in theirs, and I couldn't find them. I forget where they ended up going, and it took me a while to run into them again. So I was just this big hot mess walking around covered in sand. My hair was just like a big mess. I even tried showering off in the little shower things once you get past the sand, but that didn't even help. We were staying in a really nice hotel, so I looked like a mess. Probably about an hour later, when we went back down to that area, I happened to notice the red flags along all of the surfing signs, basically saying surf at your own risk because it's an extremely high tide. Why did we paddleboard in high tide? I don't know. I do want to try paddleboarding again, probably not in the ocean. I will try it in a river or a lake. I feel like I probably won't die in there. So that was the story of how I almost died paddleboarding in Hawaii. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. And if you like my channel, go ahead and subscribe. And I'll see you next time. Bye.